Hit it, sweetheart. Hit it, sweetheart.
Greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Krusty Canuck, and thank you once again to Uptown Fiascos for that lovely, lovely audio blurb there. Well done, sir. Anyway, as I was saying at the beginning of the episode, yes, the Munk debates. Now, when I understand the Munk debates, a lot of famous people have been on that stage in Toronto discussing, can't speak English today, discussing social issues, national issues, political issues, and every other issue thereof. However, what strikes a nerve in me is that you have a candidate by the name of Maxime Bernier, PPC candidate, a new party this country has developed and is growing drastically as we speak. You have an average of anywhere 320 odd candidates who have been nominated for their ridings, and for some unknown reason, other than what I personally think being political bias, he is not being allowed to debate, which is kind of shitty as far as I'm concerned. Regardless of what your political stance is in any democracy, okay, after watching what our brothers and sisters down the South have witnessed with their Democratic debates and Republican debates alike, you're having an abundance of candidates from each party or each representation or riding or, district, 12 or more at a time, sitting there debating this, debating that, blah, 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 blah. And yet we have 4 senior leaders in Canada right now. You've got Elizabeth May, you've got Justin Trudeau, Mr. Potato, and Jagmeet Singh, and, of course, Andrew Scheer, all sharing the stage in this debate. And yet, why is Max not allowed to go? Huh? Why is it, folks? Why is it okay for Mad Max not to be part of it, even though he has campaigned and platformed and raised a lot of money to bring his party to term, to bring candidates to suggest different ideas, different ideology, some libertarian, some conservative, but downright a little more classical liberal, if anything. And yet he is not allowed. Why? Why is he not allowed to debate? Why is he not a part of it? Not enough room on the stage, Yeah. I think it's because people don't like him. I think he has something to say, and people are afraid of it. Typical Canadian, ideology, don't say big bad words because, this might scare people. Let it scare people. Let it resonate with voters alike. We can't afford comfortable spaces anymore, ladies and gentlemen. You want comfort, we have to go create it ourselves. We have to find our homes. We have to find our great and perfect jobs. We have to find our perfect lifestyle. Makes us happy. That's the joy of this democracy. However, the powers that be, it doesn't matter if the Monks debates is a private function or not. If you're going to invite politicians to debate on the status and interests that this country promotes and has, then you bloody well let all politicians get involved too. Why not? What's the problem? What are you guys afraid of? Trudeau, you failed. Andrew Scheer, I don't know where you're going, bud. You just kind of seem to be going off the rocker here. You got members of your party that are kicking ass, taking names. Hats off to Michelle Rempel, who stood up for a lot of people. And hats off to those few conservative candidates who have actually given me a hand getting my benefits from Veterans Affairs. And, of course, what they've done for other troops and veterans alike. But I don't believe that any work in democracy you have to forbid someone or shun someone from speaking at a debate. Is that not what the platform is for? Right? Why can't we have 5 politicians on that stage discussing policies and ideas and better ways for Canadians to get ahead rather than trying to look good? You got Boy Blunder there with his fucking socks. What kind of policies has he maintained? What kind of respect has he gained from other nations based on his antics and his dancing around like an idiot and showing off his socks at NATO summits when we should be talking about how Canada should be spending at least 2% of GDP on upgrading our troops? Right? It's got nothing to do with becoming a warmonger, folks. It's a matter of looking after what has to be looked after. Andrew Scheer and his stance too. Backing up veterans. What are some of the policies that these individuals have when it comes to foreign affairs? Right? What are the policies that these people have when it comes to standing up for what is right. I don't see too many of these creatures discussing foreign policy. I've seen Max Bernier talk about it, though. Right? He speaks both official languages. He does it very well. Right? He does a lot of things very well. And regardless of the fuck-ups he had in the past with a security briefcase while dating his ex-girlfriend, that's hearsay. Mike Duffy, spent $90,000 on expenses, and the media was in a hoopla over that. And yet, Gerald Butts is back in the scene, and him and his co-worker had $220,000 given to him for moving expenses. $220,000, ladies and gentlemen, for moving expenses. It doesn't compare to $90,000 now, does it? So it's all priorities, folks. And I think a lot of us Canucks are catching on to the fact that we're not buying this bullshit anymore. So regardless of who you vote for, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't matter if it's NDP, Conservative, Liberal, Rhinoceros, PPC, Libertarian, Pastafarian Fronts of Us, whatever. Start promoting fairness. This fucking government, has promoted transparency right from day one, and yet what has been transparent thus far? SNC-Lavalin, Gerald Butts retiring, leaving, the dismissal of Ms. Raybould, the dismissal of other key liberal figures. And what? A democratic emergency, electoral emergency, my ass. They're flailing. Right? That's what happens when you have a bunch of unqualified people doing the jobs of adults. I've said numerous times before in my shows here, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what your background is. I don't care how you identify. Are you qualified to do the work? Well, there you go. If you're qualified to do the job, there's your job. Right? But if you just got a background in law and a bit in history and a bit in music, and you got a degree in above mentioned, that doesn't make you a fucking genius. Especially comes with people with history degrees, too. I actually had a debate with a fellow on my Facebook page. I put a meme up. I confess, oh my goodness, I put a meme up calling Hitler a socialist. Ooh. Fuck, people, you should have seen the head turn of that. All these experts weighing in. Oh my God, he was a fascist. He wasn't a socialist. Oh, he was this. And oh my God, he was, how dare you? I'm like, what? So, okay, I'd listen on. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. When I took high school history, right, we were taught what Hitler did with Mussolini and how he had a non-aggression pact with Joseph Stalin, right? All those great leaders had an affiliation with praising the state and looking after the welfare of the state, not the fucking individual. So whether you believe in socialism or communism, it's all from the same fucking foundation, ladies and gentlemen, which leads to totalitarianism. History has proven that. So the clowns out there that weighed in trying to be intellectually superior over the sake of me planting a meme, how fucking gullible are you? Really? Huh? We all know that Hitler wasn't a true socialist. We all know that he wasn't a true communist. We all know that he was a fascist and a tyrant. So was Mussolini. Right? Lenin was an idiot. Joseph Stalin was an idiot. All these clowns that promote the totalitarian regime are idiots. And it doesn't matter if you're Idi Amin, Pol Pot, Ho Chi Minh, Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un, Mao Zedong, and the present leader of China right now, who has a crisis on his hands because Hong Kong. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Tiananmen Square is about to happen all over again. Anyway, tell me what you think. You can reach me at CrustyBCanuck67@gmail.com. Find me on Instagram at CanuckCrusty or on Facebook on my page there. I'm presently working getting my software and my webpage updated. But yeah, tell me what you think. If you're going to waste your time with all this education, worrying what people say, you obviously don't care what people do. And I hate to say it, folks, but the people that are doing right now are doing wrong. And as I said to a mutual friend, well, not a mutual friend, but a fellow commentator, Mr. Adam Daniel Menze, one hell of a guy. Here, I'm going to plug his page. You can find him on Facebook. I'll leave a link at the end of my podcast here in the description. But one hell of an articulate human being. He's from the East. Yeah, he's in Ontario. I'm not going to give too much away, but he's a producer, an actor, writer, entertainer, artist, and extremely well-spoken. Well-immersed in Canadian history, well-immersed in Ontario history, well-immersed in politics, and one hell of an entertainer. And really a nice guy to talk to. So I recommend you check his work out. Fantastic. And he basically put up a page recently, or a video recently, in regards to Canada and what it means. And I hate to say it, folks, but there's another patriot. And a shitstorm's a brewing, basically. I'm finding more and more Canadians, especially when I go online, when I go out in the public, and I talk with folks. There's still a lot of patriotism there. And it doesn't matter what you identify with or what moves you. You know, with all the crap going down south, to my American listeners, my apologies if I'm mispronouncing anything or I'm misinformed, but recently I've just been focused on Canada. But with all the dogma with their democratic debates and the so-called democratic socialist uprising, not uprising, the little, you'll see it on Facebook. Anyway, I am going to put on a link to that democratic socialist gathering, people using jazz hands and shit, and just like, I shake my head. Well, what else do you say? You know, I don't know what to say, really. It is just an effing nightmare. So once again, Adam Daniel Manzay, a very, very articulate, very, very outspoken, well-immersed human being, individual, artist, writer, and commentator. Excellent work. Does some excellent spiels. So shout out to you, Adam. Thank you very much. And had to give you a plug because, well, you deserve it, bud. And well, that's it for him. He's just a great guy. Check out his work. You know, as I was saying, more to the Munk debates here. Regardless of what your personal feeling towards is Max Bernier or any other leader for that much, let Max speak. So I suggest my listeners out there send an email to Munk Debates. Just go to their webpage and just send them an email and saying, yeah, let Max speak. You know, you keep stifling people because you don't like what they have to say, then you're not being democratic. You're being a wimp and you're being a suck, right? I don't know how many times I've had people come up to me and say stupid shit, and how many times I've had to read my hate mail and people said stupid shit. And I read it, and I encourage a lot of debate, and I encourage a lot of discussion, right? That's the thing. That's life. That's being an adult. If you get in the public eye, you're going to have to own your shit, own what you say, you know, and be an adult enough to stand corrected. There's a couple of people that corrected me on some facts and figures. I own it. But when I put that meme up, I did it for a reason, just to see what exactly people would react to. And it goes to prove a point, though, too, how easily people can be offended over nothing. Don't worry, scholars out there who think you have the moral high ground. We learned about Hitler when I was a teenager, and yeah, he wasn't a true socialist, but he used the socialist formula to get ahead. And he lied to people, just like every other dictator has lied and mistrotted and feared and separated and divided folks. Now, tell me what you think. CrustyBCanuck67 at gmail.com. Or on Facebook there. You can reach me at Krusty Canuck, and Instagram at Canuck Krusty. And, well, yeah, even my comments here on Patreon. So, that being said, going on what Canada means to me. What Canada means to me, folks, a democracy. Home and native land, just like the anthem. I'm not going to sit and praise and give accolades over and over again, but I will praise our history. We do have a history of bloodshed. We do have a history of chaos and carnage. We have a history of social unfairness. But I'm not going to go back in time and try to correct the wrongs of the past. That's why they're in the past. And I like to think we've learned from that. There's some of the First Nations persons I have talked to. There's a lot of hurt with the elders over the past, a lot with residential schooling and what have you. And I never agreed to that, ever. Right? I never agreed to that. That's fucking atrocious what happened. It's fucking atrocious what happened to children at the turn of the 20th century in regards to going into coal mines. It's atrocious in how we treated some Chinese immigrants in the 1860s, building the railroad, right? But That's done with now. That's in the past. I'm not going to keep hanging on to it. Not every democracy has had a perfect history. Not every new country has had a perfect history. Right? No such thing as perfect history. We'd be kidding ourselves if there was. Right? That's why it's called history. You're supposed to learn from it. Right? You're supposed to learn how to be kind and how to be gentle and caring and charismatic and all that good stuff. We're also supposed to be, listening and attentive. We're supposed to evolve from things, Unfortunately, we still have an abundance of people that want to scream foul every time they see or hear something they don't want, right? But that's another story. Which brings me to this whole Section 13 again. Now, back in 2013, the Conservatives got rid of it because hate speech was a broad term, and there's no need to incorporate it into the Human Rights Act. However, our beautiful liberal government wants to reincorporate it again just to make sure that, feelings don't get hurt. Well, pumpkins. I guess all these individuals never had to work 40 hours or more a week. I guess all these individuals never had to really struggle to get bills paid, or nor they had to assist a loved one who happened to be dying or happens to be very, very ill. And they never had to encounter any kind of hateful things when it comes to human love and emotion and everything else. Oh, but okay. You want to promote hate speech? Go ahead and do it. Because here's some hate speech for you. I hate fucking taxes. I hate weather that's minus 40. I hate it when I have to go warm my car up sometimes when it's too damn cold. I hate having to dress up and bundle up in the middle of January. Right? Is that hate speech? Right? So it's just I don't know. A part of me says, don't worry about it. It's never going to happen. And a part of me says, oh, yes, they're going to pass another law and forbid you from speaking your mind. And, whatever deemed as hate speech, then you'll be going to jail for hating something. I can tell you this, throughout my whole life, I've never seen anybody go out of their way to really, really harm somebody because they hated them. Now, schoolyards is one thing. High schools is one thing. That's part of growing up. You're always going to have your little cliques and your little groups and your little tribes calling the shots here and there. And you're always going to find some teenage pop song discussing about how they want to be part of the cool kids or they loathe the cool kids. Fuck, watch The Breakfast Club. You see a great dynamic there, Or the old punk rock film, Suburbia. You see a bigger fucking dynamic there. But that's never motivated me or anybody that I've known to go out of their way to destroy somebody because they didn't like them. But I'm seeing more and more of it now on social media and on mainstream media and through television programs, what's being written and in big movies and what have you too. And it gets really fucking scary, the models and what influences that. It's kind of childish. And I've said that last time in my last episode too about being a child and all this, and it's just getting ridiculous. And now so-called leaders want to weigh in and try to monitor that and try to police morality. You can't police morality. You can't. It's impossible. Might as well try to police blinking or dropping ass or belching. It's not right to hurt a child. It's not right to hit your spouse. It's not right to steal money. It's not, and a lot of that's common sense. But then when you keep messing with people's thoughts and messing with people's speech, oh, hate speech. Fuck off. Like anybody listening here, and not my listeners, not my dedicated listeners, my dedicated subscribers, but anybody listening this the first time. And as I said, if you don't like what I have to say, you don't have to listen to it. But then if you're going to waste all your time and effort, to hurt somebody because you disagree with what this point was or what that point was or what a meme was, then as far as I'm concerned, you're not adult enough to handle the world. You step outside, there's going to be coworkers that are going to say things. There's going to be people on the street that are going to say things. I mean, the last time I was downtown Toronto, you're seeing street preachers and poets alike saying this and saying that. And sometimes you don't agree with what they say. Well, you give them a couple of bucks in their bucket or you just walk away. Like it's, That's why movements like the Walk Away campaign is so important too. And I'll be getting that probably another episode later on down the road. But I'm negotiating with somebody as we speak who's with the Walk Away Canada movement, and I'm going to set up an interview with this individual. I watched his video on Facebook there, and just right down to earth, realistic, in your face. Enough of this bullshit. Here we go. And I'm walking away because, and just really down to earth and pragmatic. Pragmatism, and just fantastic. So I'll save that for another episode. But back to this whole Section 13 crap. Why do we need laws to protect feelings? Right? Like, how are some of the greatest artistic pieces that have ever been sculpted? Did every artist stop and cry when he or she was criticized? Did Leonard Cohen stop and cry when people didn't like his books or his songs? Did Gordon Lightfoot stomp and cry and want to pass a law if people didn't like his lyrics? Right? Was there stomping and crying and carrying on when Ernest Hemingway wrote some of his best works? Or Mark Twain? Some of the great poets out there. Farley Mowat when he wrote his works, mandatory reading in high school. I'm sure every writer and creator out there has been criticized one or the other, whether you're producing a hit record or writing a great song or sculpting or painting. When you worry about hate speech and stuff, you're opening the door more for people to tiptoe or walk around their fucking eggshells. And for what? What purpose? What is it going to promote? What is the end game of this? My personal thought is controlling and herding people like cattle. Not hurting, herding. Right? Like I said to Adam, Daniel Menze there when I commented, a shitstorm's a brewing, folks. Really, a whole shitstorm is brewing, and it's getting ridiculous how things are constantly being monitored and chastised, right? Like, if all these professors have so much intelligence when it comes to the human condition and politics, why aren't they weighing in and telling some of these fucking so-called liberals to back the fuck off, right? It's never too late for some heroes, ladies and gentlemen. I came across a meme the other day in regards to protecting kids at schools and protecting loved ones. I remember Jesse Ventura, of all people, quoting, "Why don't you hire some veterans that are qualified to carry a pistol to guard some of these schools to stop school shootings?" Now, there hasn't been too many school shootings in Canada, thankfully. The past weekend, there's been shootings in Toronto, right? And, of course, everyone weighing in about the gun ban again. No, don't harp on the criminals. Let's harp on the actual inanimate objects they had. But the point I'm trying to make is that there's nothing wrong with carrying a gun. You know how to use it. I know how to use a hammer. I know how to use a skill saw and a jigsaw. I know how to cut and measure and all that good stuff. Does that make me dangerous because I'm handy with power tools? I also own guns too. Does that make me dangerous? Right? Does that make me hateful? Right? But the meme was basically making a point, putting ex-cops and veterans who are trained and qualified to look after the welfare of kids, put them in schools, have them dressed up as janitors or something like that. So if something does happen to that caliber, then you at least have something on the ground to defend little boys and girls from evil, evil shooters. Right? I'm not going to weigh in today on the shootings in the United States. Right? There's a lot of information that I'm acquiring from an individual in regards to that. But it was heinous. It was terrible. Fucking abomination. And it's amazing how every time something bad happens, they point the fingers at one or two politicians. Right? And in this country, especially in this country, something bad happens. Oh, it's a gun. Oh, the person's misinformed. Yeah, well, you're creating more misinformation with things like Section 13. Right? So to all the Karina Golds out there, to all the Justin Trudeaus, to all the Gerald Butts, To all the Ralph Goodales and Bill Blairs and John Tories who think you can just dust these problems under the rug and ban this and ban that. Folks, you're only going to be creating a bigger shitstorm, right? So we better start using some practicality here and start using some common sense, right? I know I'm kind of rambling, folks, but all this information coming at me and just the thoughts going into my head as I ramble on here. But you decide. Come October 21st, I hope we make a good decision. I've actually had someone ask me, says, would you be so highly critical of Justin Trudeau, let's say, if Andrew Scheer got in? And I basically say, well, I'm keeping this podcast going. I'm not going to stop at just Justin Trudeau. If Andrew Scheer does get elected, then, and he does stupid things, and I'm going to criticize him too. If Jason Kenney here in Alberta did something stupid, I will criticize his efforts, but I haven't seen anything stupid from him. There's a big stink about Doug Ford cutting back legal aid for the immigrants in Ontario, right? But I don't know what to think about that. Throughout our history, whether you have a liberal or a conservative government, the liberals will spend, and the conservatives would cut, right? There's been a few exceptions to that rule, however, but it's been the format as far as I can remember, as far as my parents can remember. Let's tighten things up here. Being fiscally responsible, being socially responsible too, for that matter. If Scheer gets in, who knows? I said the same thing about Kenney getting in. I do not know what he's going to do, but I did get myself a nice carbon tax rebate because of Jason Kenney, so that's a good thing, right? That was one of his platforms he stuck to, and I was quite impressed with that. But like I said, I have some conservative values, I have libertarian values, but it also basically sums up to classical liberal. If I have all this money, does that mean I have to give it away? No, I invest it in things. I have invested in things. And with the sponsors I'm negotiating with right now, there's a mutual investment there too. Socially responsible as in I am not going to chastise anybody for who they are. Now, I've made some comments about the whole trans issue in my last episodes, but that's because there was some shithead in BC hide the fact that he's trans to be a fucking pervert. And I have no way said all trans peoples are perverts. No. Just that one clown, that Jessica Yaniv. Right? But, I don't know, folks. When it comes to Section 13 and hate speech, it's a broad term. It is. What Canada means to me means a lot. It's my home. It's a native land. I fought for this nation. I worked with many people that fought for this nation. Some of them are not with us today. And I think about those guys sometimes. But I also think about what my grandfather did in the Air Force and what my other grandfather did with the Essex Scottish in Holland and other relatives who have made the supreme sacrifice. And not to sit here and try to toot my own horn and hear little violins in the background, but we've all done our share, and I'm going to keep doing my share. I'm going to keep speaking out, and I encourage you all to speak out against it too. Speak out against ridiculousness. Speak out against status quo. Speak out against political correctness. We can't be adults anymore. We got to be monitored. Like, that's fucking stupid, right? Heaven forbid if we actually speak our mind at a democratic debate. Oh no, can't do that, right? While you're sitting there worrying about how much money is being poured into politics and social programs, you should be worried about how much money is coming to these people that are standing up for these so-called platforms, right? We all know Justin Trudeau never worked a day in his life because he was born into wealth. Okay, Chrystia Freeland, the same thing. Bill Morneau, same thing. Andrew Scheer came from a good background, a good ethic. But we'll see what he has to say. I don't know. Maxime Bernier came from a good background too. Tim Moyne, Libertarian leader, came from a good, solid blue-collar background. The man's still working as a firefighter, so it tells you something about priorities and the way he treats people. Well, a lot of these guys treat people. Maxime Bernier's been fair. Tim Moyne's been fair. You know, my fellow commentators have been very fair and lenient. So, I don't know. Come 21st October, ladies and gentlemen, let's not allow a Section 13 to prevail. Let's have sensible gun laws. Let's have sensible actions to little actions. Let's be sensible. Let Max speak, and I'll leave that there on my description. Any politician who has the balls and the dedication to serve persons, to serve any riding, any district, let them speak. That's how democracy works, right? Really, that's how democracy should work. That's how democracy should be. So let that happen. Okay? It's up to you and me to make the right decisions. Look after our loved ones and all that good stuff. And yet vote with our heads, not our hearts. Save our hearts for our family and friends and our loved ones and things we love to do. But let us vote with our heads and start fucking allowing and start giving the right people the job based on their merits, based on the knowledge they provide, and based on the actions they provide. Not just by hearsay, or because this person has a degree here, or because of their gender, or how they identify. Well, it speaks for itself. Anyways, gentlemen, that's another episode for this week, for August 13th, 2019. I've been your host, Krusty Canuck. I'm working on, let's say, better software and all that stuff, getting my website up and running. But if you feel like donating, please do. Offer still stands. Every donation, $5 to $10 or more, I will give you a free T-shirt. And 30%, I say again, 30% of every donation or every sale or both, I will gladly give to the Calgary Veterans Food Bank. Right? I'm trying to reach a goal here of giving them at least $1,000. So to all my subscribers and people who have shared, and my new subscribers and subscribers to be, please consider donating. Not only are you going to help me with something my income, but you get a nice T-shirt, and you also give a nice donation to the Calgary Veterans Food Bank. Some guys who really, really need it. So that's my spiel for now, ladies and gentlemen. And well, have a good night, and look after your loved ones. Take care, and remember, humanity and merit wins the day. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart.
Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Aye, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all